back to the Brotherhood of Men. My name's Andy R. Today I'm going to talk to you about a bit of a knotty subject, which is, why do men fight? Well, why do we fight? Like I say, it's a knotty subject, but a good one, because for many years women have been trying to weed out this instinct that men have to fight each other. And the truth of the matter is that you can't do that. It's the old knotty subject of nature and nurture. Nature has hardwired into a species, a person, a breed, a sex, certain things. Nurture tries to work against nature or work with nature. Now, when it comes to men fighting, it starts when we're boys. It's that tussling, that roughhousing, that wrestling. You don't tend to see it with girls. Girls are quieter when they're children, usually. There are always exceptions, as I constantly say, there are no absolutes. But generally, boys are more boisterous. But there's a reason for that, because within their clique of friends, and boys, when you are boys, I mean young little boys, do tend to seek out other little boys to play with, and girls tend to seek out other girls, and their way that they play together in those groups is completely different, without even any outside influence. So boys do tend to roughhouse, tend to basically knock 10 shades of muck out of each other and encourage each other to do dangerous things, because that's how we learn our boundaries. It's where we find our place within that group of boys. This is why you will still find men, grown up, old men, who've had friends from childhood, because it's a bond that brought them together all the way through to adulthood. It only tends to be things like distance and family and stuff like that that split them up, but they still remain friends. I've got friends now that I had when I was 7 years old. I'm 56 now, and those are still my friends. I still talk to them, only occasionally now, but it's like we only spoke yesterday. It could be years with it. I remember one friend of mine, I hadn't seen him in 7 years, and he tracked me down so he could invite me to his wedding. And then I didn't see him for another 5 years, and we bumped into each other, we went out for a drink. It was like we'd only walked out the room the day before. Because that's what it means, male friends. You create that bond together. But that bond comes through a certain amount of adversity and also tussle. Don't ever think that me and that friend had not exchanged blows. And this is what women find hard to fathom, is the fact that we can literally fight with our friends with every intention of harming each other, and then the next minute say, let's go for a pint, let's go and laughing and joking. They can't seem to understand it. But the important question that you should be asking is that men do fight. Because at some point, the man you're with might be called upon to fight for you. And wouldn't you like to know that he's capable of it? Here's a question that women should really ask men. Have you ever been in a fight? Because if that man says no, then he's never been tested. And if he's never been tested, he doesn't know if he's up for the challenge. And I don't just mean physical challenge, I mean the mental challenge. Because there is nothing in this world like feeling your own blood in your mouth, that somebody's hit you, beaten you, and you know how that feels and how you feel about it and what you're going to do about it. I learned very early on how to fight. Since that early education, I've learnt how to fight smarter and better. So now I very rarely have to raise these to get my point across. I use this and this far more than I'd ever have to use these. But I know the damage I can do with these. And that's the important thing. This is why boys and men fight. It's because we need to test ourselves to make sure we're ready for when we're called upon. Let's be honest, if there was another World War situation, we wouldn't be going to the women and saying, hey, come on, we need you to fight. We'd be going to the men again and saying, I hope you're up to the challenge. So that's why men fight, to find our place in our order, in other words, within among other men. We also know, any group of men that gets together, we know that there is always the possibility of violence happening. There isn't any group of men who hasn't weighed up their friends and the colleagues and associates, even in the business world, who haven't looked around and think, could I take him? How much of a fight would I have to beat him? Because we never think, how much of a fight would I have before he beat me? Doesn't matter how big or strong somebody looks, there is not a man worth his salt who hasn't looked thinking, it might be hard work, but I could take him. Because that's always in the mind, and that's the nature part. You can't deprogram that. You can put civilization on top of that. That's the nurture part. That's the mother's influence saying, you shouldn't fight, you shouldn't. When a boy first comes home from school with scrapes and that on, the mother goes mad. What happened to you? Oh, you've been fighting at school. What do you think you're playing at? You shame me, and all those tactics that women do to get a man to not to fight. If there's a man in that household, the husband, the father, at first, in front of the mother, he will say, usually this is, if he's a good father, he'll say, oh, it was wrong to fight. Leave him with, I'll sort this out. And he'll take him to another room or something and sit him down and go, now, what was it all about? Now, if the kid's honest, he'll probably say what the fight was about. It might have been over something stupid, and the dad will say, that was a stupid thing to fight about. He won't say, you should never fight. He will say, that was a stupid thing to fight about. If it was a reason that worth fighting, he says, you did the right thing, son. Don't tell your mother, though. And then the next thing he'll probably say is, did you win? And if you didn't win, he'll want to know why you didn't win. And if you did win, he'll want to know how you won. And then, if he's a really good father, he'll say, you need to learn how to fight properly. And that's when, if he's learnt that lesson himself and is a good father, will take the son out and teach him how to throw a punch, how to block, how to defend himself. And if not, he'll send him somewhere to learn, a boxing gym, a martial arts gym, anywhere, a dojo, somewhere he can learn, because one, it'll focus that aggression that is in every boy. I'm afraid it just is. This is what women don't seem to understand, and this is my despair of those women who think they're men, who think they can do like men. The ones that will say, I'll beat you up. Really? You're going to take on, well, for instance, someone like me. Somebody from 8 years old has learned how to defend himself and how to be lethal. But you're going to beat me up? A woman who is intrinsically less muscle mass than me, less skeletal build, men are 30% stronger on average than women, has a 17th of my grip strength, but you're going to take me on, you're going to beat me up. No. Men live with violence every day. Let me clarify that. Men live with the chance there is violence every day. Because we're constantly analysing, could this turn nasty? Could this do this? Will I have to stand up for my woman? Will I have to? So that's why men fight. Well, it's the way I think, the reason I think men fight. You tell me. Am I full of it? Do I know not what I'm talking about? Tell me a time when your woman's got you into a fight and how it went and what her reasoning was for doing it. Tell me in the comments below. Tell me Tell me how you first felt the first time you hit somebody, or the first time you were hit, and how that made you feel. Because I know generally we don't like to be hit, but it does motivate us not to get hit again. Anyway, my name's Andy. This is the Brotherhood of Men. I hope you found this useful, and if so, give me a like. One of them. It helps the algorithm. Also, if I've earned your subscription, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell notification. That way you won't miss out on future content. And I have got some good content coming up. Great content, in fact. And also, leave me a comment. Tell me about you. Tell me if you think I'm talking nonsense, or if I'm making valid points. Anyway, I'm going for a cup of tea because I've earned one, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye now.